Essay number 36. Why you should thank the people who have hurt you most in life. I'm about to ask you to do something that might make you angry, something that feels wrong, maybe even offensive. I'm going to ask you to think about the person who hurt you most in your life, the one who broke you, the one whose name still makes your chest tight, the one you've spent years trying to forget. Now I'm going to tell you why you should thank them. I know how that sounds. I know your immediate reaction is probably, absolutely not. Why would you thank someone who caused you pain? Why would you feel gratitude towards someone who might have traumatized you, betrayed you, abandoned you? Stay with me, because this isn't about excusing what they did. It's not about pretending it was okay. It's about something much more powerful than that. Here's the first truth that's hard to swallow. The people who were able to hurt you most were also the people you were able to love the most. Think about it. We aren't profoundly affected by strangers. We aren't devastated by people we don't care about. The depth of your pain is directly proportional to the depth of your love. For someone to have that much power to hurt you, they had to matter. They had to be deep inside your heart already. They had to mean something sacred to you. And as twisted as it sounds, that's actually a gift. Not everyone gets to experience love that profound, even when it goes wrong. Not everyone gets to feel that deeply, even when it ends in pain. The fact that you were capable of loving someone that much, of letting someone matter that much, of opening yourself that much, that says something beautiful about your capacity for connection. Even if they didn't deserve it, even if they destroyed it, even if they threw it away. Now let's talk about what these difficult relationships actually do to us, because they change us, fundamentally. In feeling helpless, you learn to take care of yourself. You develop self-reliance you never knew you needed. In feeling used, you finally recognize your worth. You understand what you bring to the table because you see what happens when it's not valued. In being mistreated or even abused, you develop a compassion you couldn't have accessed otherwise. Not necessarily for them, though sometimes that comes too, but for others who have suffered. You develop a radar for pain in others because you know intimately what it looks like, what it feels like, what it does to a person. In feeling stuck, you realize there's always a choice, even if the choice is just how you respond internally, even if the choice is just whether you let it define you or refine you. In accepting what was done to you, really accepting it, not excusing it, but acknowledging that it happened and can't be changed, you realize that nobody has ultimate control. Not them over you, not you over them. And in surrendering the need for something you'll never have, the apology that won't come, the explanation that won't satisfy, the love that won't return, you find something better. You find peace, which, if you're honest, is what you were actually seeking all along. Not revenge, not vindication, but peace. What you learn and who you become through these painful relationships is infinitely more important than how you temporarily felt. That relationship that seemed unbearable at the time, the feeling was transitory. It passed. You're here now, on the other side of it. But the wisdom you gained, the boundaries you developed, the self-knowledge you acquired, the strength you built, those aren't transitory, those are permanent. Those became part of who you are. These lessons set the foundation for the rest of your life. Every relationship that comes after is informed by what you learned. Every choice you make is wiser because of what you now know. Every boundary you set is stronger because of what you survived. The ends far outweigh the means. To be grateful for what you've been through is to acknowledge that you're better for it, even if you wish it had never happened. Here's something that might be hard to accept. You don't come across these people by accident. They were your teachers, your catalysts. The universe doesn't send you what you want. It sends you what you need to grow into who you're meant to become. C. Joybell C. said, "We're all stars that think we're dying until we realize we're actually collapsing into supernovas, becoming more beautiful than ever before." That's what these people do to us. They create the pressure that forms diamonds. They create the breakdown that precedes the breakthrough. They create the destruction necessary for reconstruction. It often takes the contrast of pain to completely appreciate joy. It takes experiencing callousness to appreciate kindness. It takes betrayal to appreciate loyalty. It takes lies to appreciate truth. Sometimes light enters us through our wounds. Sometimes we need to be broken open to let something better in. Now here's the crucial part. Even if what happened wasn't your fault, and it might not have been, it is your problem. That's not fair, but it's true. You get to choose what you do in the aftermath. You have every right to rage, to hate, to hold on to resentment for the rest of your life. That's your right. But you also have another choice. You can choose peace. You can choose to thank them, not to their face, not in a letter, maybe never in any way they'll know, but in your heart, for what they taught you. To thank them is to forgive them, not for their sake, but for yours. To forgive them is to realize that the other side of resentment is wisdom. The people who become supernovas, who transform their pain into power, aren't the ones who just acknowledge their pain and let it sit there, stagnating, festering, defining them. They're the ones who acknowledge it and then alchemize it into something better. They take the lead of their pain and transform it into the gold of wisdom. Look at the people you admire most, the ones who seem genuinely happy, genuinely at peace, genuinely wise. They're often the ones who have been through the most. But here's the key. They've been through it, not past it, not over it, but through it. They've completely acknowledged their feelings. They've felt them fully. They've learned from them. They've integrated them. These people develop a compassion that can only come from suffering. They develop a self-awareness that can only come from being forced to look at themselves. They become more conscious of who they let into their lives because they know the cost of letting in the wrong people. They take a more active role in creating their lives because they know what happens when they don't. Here's what that terrible relationship actually did for you. It showed you what you deserve. It didn't actually hurt you. It revealed an unhealed part of yourself, a part that accepted less than you deserved, a part that didn't know its own worth, a part that was preventing you from being truly loved because it didn't believe you were worthy of true love. That's what happens when we finally get past hurtful experiences and terrible relationships. We realize we are worth more, so we choose more. We realize how we blindly or naively said yes to someone who didn't deserve our yes. We realize how we gave away our power, our heart space, our mental energy to someone who didn't earn it. We realize our role in the choosing, because we did choose, even if we didn't realize we were choosing. We chose to stay when the red flags appeared. We chose to believe words over actions. We chose to hope things would change when all evidence suggested they wouldn't. Not because we were stupid or weak, but because we didn't yet know our own worth. By experiencing what seems like the worst, we finally understand what we actually deserve. It feels so wrong because we deserve so much better. But we might never have known that without the contrast. We might have settled for mediocre love forever if we hadn't experienced what toxic love feels like. True peace with anything, real, complete, transformative peace, comes when you can genuinely say thank you for that experience. Not thank you for hurting me, but thank you for what I learned. Thank you for who I became. Thank you for showing me what I don't want so clearly that I'll never choose it again. Until you can find gratitude, you're not really through it. You're still in it. You're still letting it define you. You're still giving that person power over your present and your future. As long as you're focused on how they made things worse, you haven't yet discovered how they made you better. To fully accept your life, all of it, the highs and lows, the good and bad, the love and the loss, is to be grateful for all of it. To know that the good teaches you well, but the bad teaches you better. The good shows you what's possible. The bad shows you what's necessary. The good shows you what to reach for. The bad shows you what to never accept again. This doesn't mean you need to reach out to these people. You don't need to tell them thank you. You don't need them to know that you've found peace. This isn't about them at all. They played their role in your story, and now they're gone. This is about you and your relationship with your own history. When you can thank the people who hurt you most, internally, privately, genuinely, you take back all the power you gave them. You transform victimhood into victory. You turn wounds into wisdom. You alchemize pain into power. You're not thanking them for hurting you. You're thanking them for being the catalyst for who you've become. You're thanking them for the involuntary gift of growth they gave you. You're thanking them for showing you exactly what you don't want, exactly what you won't accept, exactly what you deserve instead. Because here's the ultimate truth. You wouldn't be who you are without them. The strength you have now, it came from surviving them. The wisdom you carry, it came from learning from them. The boundaries you maintain, they came from realizing what happens when you don't have them. The self-love you're developing, it came from finally understanding that you deserve better than what they gave you. Every person who hurt you was a teacher in disguise. Every painful experience was a lesson you needed to learn. Every betrayal was showing you something about trust. Every abandonment was teaching you about self-reliance. Every cruelty was developing your compassion. Every lie was sharpening your intuition. You can hate them forever if you want. You can hold on to that resentment until you die. That's your choice. But what does that give you? What does that create in your life? What does that do except keep you tethered to the worst thing that ever happened to you? Or you can thank them and let them go. Thank them for the lesson and release the teacher. Thank them for the growth and release the pain. Thank them for showing you who you don't want to be and what you don't want to accept. Thank them for being the fire that forged you into who you are now. Because who you are now, someone who survived, someone who learned, someone who grew, someone who knows their worth, someone who won't accept less than they deserve, that person is incredible. That person is strong, that person is wise, and that person wouldn't exist without the pain that created them. So thank them, not for their sake, for yours. Thank them and let them go. Thank them and take back your power. Thank them and move forward into the life you deserve, the life you couldn't have even imagined before they broke you open and forced you to rebuild yourself stronger. The breaking was the making, the wound was the doorway, the pain was the teacher, and the person who hurt you most, they were just playing a role in your becoming. Thank them for playing it, and then thank yourself for surviving it, learning from it, and becoming who you are because of it. That's how you transform pain into power. That's how you turn wounds into wisdom. That's how you take the worst thing that ever happened to you and make it the foundation of the best thing you ever become.